If your plants aren't looking right, your first instinct might be to pour on more nutrients. But what if that's actually making the problem worse? Today, we are going to show you why more nutrients doesn't always mean healthier plants. Let's get into it. But before we do, this video is brought to you by Grow Dots. If you want nutrient perfectly timed to your growth cycle, you gotta check out Grow Dots. They got a high nitrogen that fades out late in bloom, plenty of P&K for flowering, and slow release all the way to week 16. Go to realgrowers.com, use Scotty420 coupon code, get 20% off your first order. And come on, Hi-C, let's get into it.
All right, Scott, I've been there where I'm looking at my plants. They look a little bit weak. They look a little bit sick. And my first thought is to pour some more on.
Pour more on? More on?
Yeah.
Oh, man, come on. That's my favorite thing. I love this topic because it just gives you the opportunity to look at your plants and the nutrition in a bit of a different way. And I love saying that more on because a lot of times the solution isn't pouring more on. It's understanding what's going on inside the plant.
But I can look at my plant and I can clearly see that there's a deficiency.
Okay, so we got to figure out why, right? And so the first thing we should talk about is when you pour more nutrients on, when you add nutrients on. We talked about, if you watch any of the other shows, nutrient antagonism. And what it means is there's only a certain amount of places on the soil or on the media for that nutrient to attach to. In hydroponics and all that, it's just floating around freely. That's why you got to be so precise when you're doing hydroponics. But in our media, we've got these, remember we talked about that cation exchange capacity, basically a magnetic charge. Well, some of these nutrients, they all have different magnetic charges. We talk about the cations. Those are the ones that have positive charges. You've got things like calcium and magnesium that are double positive charge. They are twice as strong of magnets as something like potassium. Potassium is a single positive charge. So what do you think happens if you add a whole bunch of calcium, just say calcium in there? But if you got something like that going on, remember that one nutrient can block out the other one, even if those both nutrients are in the soil. In other words, nutrient balance matters a whole lot more than the overall quantity of that nutrient in your soil or in your root zone.
So just because I'm having a deficiency doesn't mean that it's not in the soil.
Yes, don't pour more on.
Okay, so let's talk about the three main culprits here.
Sure. All right, come on. When we talk about culprits, I mean bottles here, okay? Because there's some bottles that you can pour on will absolutely cause a whole bunch more problems. I'll start with my favorite, the PK booster, the bloom boosters, all right? These things are powerful. They'll have 30 units or 50, like the NPK on them is like a 0, 50, 30 or something like that. They are really powerful. So what's that mean? P and K. Well, the K is a positive. The potassium is positively charged, right? So that means the soil particles are negatively charged. You're going to have, if you put a whole bunch of potassium in there, you got a whole bunch of potassium now sticking to that soil particle. Well, if you just had a nice balanced NPK nutrient formula, now you just threw a whole bunch of K in there to throw off the balance. And people do that all the time, and they don't realize what damage they're causing to their plants. So by maybe falling for a gimmick, dare I say, adding a bloom booster, whether you needed it or not.
Trying to get bigger bloom, bigger yields.
Yeah, you might be completely messing up the balance of this plant. The plant needs those 17 nutrients. It needs them all. So if you're squeezing them out because you want more bloom and you heard that potassium gives you more bloom, you're making a mistake and you're going to cause damage to your plants.
Okay, bloom boosters was the first one. This one is what I always hear, the next one.
CalMag.
Yeah, add more CalMag. The plant looks like it needs CalMag.
Yeah, NP and K are your primaries. So potassium is a primary nutrient. Your secondary nutrients, which are needed in very large amounts, calcium, magnesium, sulfur. Calcium and magnesium, we talked about potassium being a single positive charge. Calcium and magnesium are double positive charges. So if you put a whole bunch, and that's why they put them together, because they put them in the right ratio. Because if you put a whole bunch of calcium in your nutrient solution and water it in, it is going to kick everything else off. off the exchange sites out of your soil, you're going to have a very high calcium imbalance. Same with magnesium. It's those double positive charges. You will get a huge imbalance. It'll probably kick all the other cations off there. So if you just go and you see a nutrient deficiency or calcium or magnesium and you go, oh man, I better pour some more on, expect problems. You're really messing up the nutrients that are in those or on those exchange sites, and that can be absorbed by your plant. That's a really big deal.
All right, and let's talk about the third culprit here today.
Yeah, silica. I love silica. I'm always recommending silica, but silica can be really expensive. That monosilicic acid that I use is really expensive. The one that a lot of people use that's very affordable is potassium silicate. And what's the first word?
Potassium.
Yes, that's a macronutrient. So now if I already have my NP and K dialed in, or maybe I'm using a bloom booster, and then I throw in more potassium on top of that, because there's a lot of potassium and potassium silicate, I have really screwed up my nutrient solution now, or I've really screwed up the nutrients that are on those exchange sites that can get absorbed into the plant.
And silica's not like I have to have it, but people do like adding silica.
Silica's cool. Definitely is. A couple caveats to it, which is it likes to bond with other things. So you have to put it in first, and that way it becomes a really weak silica solution.
What do you mean bond with other things?
They call it precipitating out a solution. It'll basically bond with the other nutrients and make a jelly out of it.
Ew.
Yeah, so if you've made the mistake before pouring it in last, you know what I'm talking about. But it's not plant available at all. They call it precipitating out of solution. But yeah, it's very reactive. And then another caveat with silica or potassium silicate is it will raise your pH like crazy. So be careful of that. We'll get into that because, man, it's not always whether you have the plant available potassium or plant available silica. It's whether the plant can uptake it, right?
Okay, let's talk about that because I mentioned CalMag earlier. I can look at my plants and I notice that there is a calcium or magnesium deficiency, but then I add more in, it just messes things up. Before I add more in, what should I be doing?
Yes. All right, we're going to fix the cause, not the symptoms, all right? We're not just going to react to these symptoms. We're going to look for the cause, okay? And what do we talk about? What do I talk about? Number one. Environment, all right? If you're not in an environment where the stomata can be open and the plant can be sucking up that water, nutrient-filled water, through its vascular system, out the stomata and taking those nutrients. If it's not moving that water up, it can't take up those nutrients. Of course, it's going to look like a nutrient deficiency.
And what causes the stomata to not be able to open?
The wrong humidity, the wrong temperature. If the plant can't hold on to moisture because it's so hot, or if it's so humid, the plant can't move anything through the plant because there's so much water laying on the plant where it can't breathe. Stuff like that will absolutely, wreck the nutrient uptake, and it will look like nutrient deficiency.
So even if there's nutrient at the root zone, it's the plant's not pulling it through.
Correct. And it's the same with pH. I mean, if your pH is off, the plant just looks and it goes, hey, I can't absorb that.
pH lockout?
Yeah, to avoid pH lockout, you keep your pH, I don't know, it's a variability, but between, say, 5.5 and 6.5, 6.8, somewhere around there. I go between 5.8 and 6.8. Does depend on your media. It depends on if you're doing hydroponics, if you've got any media or not. But 5.8 to 6.8 is where I keep my pH. And different nutrients are absorbed at different pH levels. That's why you can vary it a little bit.
But most of the ones that your plant needs are inside of that range.
Oh, yeah.
And then what I'm thinking is if I think that I don't have enough nutrients, I pour more nutrients on.
Sure.
That might just make the pH problem even worse.
Absolutely. What happens if you pour something on and it lowers that 0, 50, 30 is going to lower your pH significantly. That silica is going to raise it. I mean, raise it up to like 9 or 10. It's insane. So again, if you have pH lockout, adding something more, pouring more on can make it worse. And if I'm talking about pH lockout, I'm talking about bad environment where the plant can't move nutrient up, it all starts at the roots. So no matter what, if your root zone isn't healthy, if you've got some kind of rot, if it's too moist in the root zone for the plant to uptake and do any work, of course you're going to see nutrient deficiencies up top in your foliage.
Okay, so if there's too much water in the root zone, and I'm watering more nutrients in, adding more water again, making the problem worse.
Yeah, these are aerobic microbes. These are aerobic roots. They need air. So if you just keep on drowning them, thinking that they're not eating, there's nutrient available in the soil, but it's not getting uptaken because you're drowning these roots. And then you've seen everybody's guilty of it. Every new grower is guilty of it. Going and getting another bottle at the grocery store. This is the miracle cure, and pouring it on there, and then being like, it's not getting any better. It's not getting any better because, hey, you might be giving it great nutrient, but you're giving it great nutrient while you're drowning it. Yeah, it's not going to work. Hey, and one last tip before we are out of here. When you are diagnosing these issues, you got to just change one thing at a time. If you start changing multiple things at a time, you're never going to know what works. So just one variable at a time. Hey, I'm going to let the plants dry out. Or, hey, I'm just going to give it a plain water or recharge until things look normal. Or, hey, I'm going to check my VPD and my environment and make sure that these plants can breathe. Change those, but change them one at a time so you can learn what's wrong and correct your problem long term. Hey, but those are just my thoughts on the matter. Come on, but what about you? When you see a nutrient deficiency in your grow, what is the first thing you do? Come on, let me know in the comments. And if you dug this video, come on, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video with another grower you know, and come on, check out the other couple of videos YouTube's recommending. We think you'll dig them.